everybody, my name is Elizabeth and I'm a librarian here at the LSC Tomball Community Library. Welcome back to Screenshots, which is the series where I recommend to you great movies that you can watch for free with your library card. Although it already kind of feels like we've been here for a million years, it is still technically the beginning of the year, and this is a time of year that necessarily makes us look forward to the future. And there is no genre of movies that is more concerned with the future than sci-fi. Now, when you hear sci-fi, you might think of things like spaceships and robots and laser guns, but sci-fi actually has a whole lot more to offer than just space operas and superhero movies. The unique speculative nature of sci-fi means that they're often on the cutting edge of technological advances in filmmaking, and they can also tackle issues that might seem far-fetched in more grounded kinds of film. With this stuff in mind, it's really no surprise that some of the most iconic films ever made are sci-fi films. But I actually went a large amount of my life thinking I didn't like sci-fi at all. I'm happy to say that over the last few years I have completely changed my tune, and it is all thanks to movies like the ones I am going to recommend to you today. So stay tuned to hear about 4 great sci-fi movies that you can watch for free through the Harris County Public Library. The first movie I would like to talk about today is the rare film that is so infinitely iconic that I found people don't really feel the need to watch it anymore. And I'm talking about myself here. I didn't actually watch it until last year, but as soon as I did, I immediately understood the hype. And that is because if you're going to be having a conversation about sci-fi movies, there's really no other place to start than with Stanley Kubrick's 1968 epic 2001: A Space Odyssey. It has been said by film critics that there is nothing left to say about 2001, so I'm not going to try to break any new ground here, except to say that it is really, really good, and it is near impossible to watch it without seeing all of the nearly infinite ways it has influenced the movies that have come after it. So many things originated from 2001, from the archetype of the evil, sentient artificial intelligence system that wants to kill all humans, to the imagery of the black monolith, and the use of Johann Strauss's The Blue Danube over images of space. 2001 really was the blueprint. The film tells roughly 4 distinct stories, all of which are tied together through one mysterious artifact and its impact on humanity. We trace this artifact and its relationship with humans all the way from the birth of humankind through to humanity's potentially alien future. But at its heart, there are 2 main pieces of this film, both concerning different groups of human space explorers. The first is going to the moon to see the black monolith where it is currently located in a lunar crater, and the second is on its way to Jupiter. But both groups find themselves derailed by mysterious happenings that occur outside of their realm of understanding. The first is a strange epidemic that is sweeping the lunar base, and the second is HAL, the iconic artificial intelligence system that has taken control of a space station and seeks to kill every human on board. Half a century later, 2001 raised questions that have never really been answered, and basically every other film in the genre owes a huge debt to Kubrick and his work on this movie. There is no other place to start a sci-fi film watching journey than with 2001: A Space Odyssey, and you can check it out on DVD through the Harris County Public Library. Movies don't need to be set in deep space to be sci-fi. In fact, some of the most riveting sci-fi films ever made examine the ways in which technology and scientific advancement impact our daily lives right here on Earth. And that is certainly the case with Spike Jonze's 2013 film, Her. 2001 can be seen as the progenitor of a certain kind of anti-artificial intelligence sentiment, but Her forces us to reckon with the fact that if artificial intelligence becomes sufficiently advanced, it would be indistinguishable from a living, breathing person, and that might not be such a bad thing. It follows Joaquin Phoenix, who plays a lonely divorcee living in LA who finds himself gifted an AI personal assistant for his home computer. He names the assistant Samantha and finds himself awed at the fact that the more he talks to her, the more lifelike she becomes. Eventually, he falls in love with her, and perhaps more startling, she claims to love him back. What at first seems to be a fluke turns out to be a consistent phenomenon. Hundreds of people claim to have either fallen in love with or formed genuine friendships with their AI. On its surface, Her sounds like it could be the premise of a mid-season episode of Black Mirror, but it's really remarkable the amount of tenderness and grace that Jones uses to tell this story. Because Her is a love story, and one that forces us to ask what we need from another person to be in love with them, and if love can reach across the gap of biology. I love this kind of understated approach to sci-fi, and I know that you will too, so you can check Her out on DVD and Blu-ray from the Harris County Public Library. Sci-Fi has had a long and beautiful relationship with anime. Some of the most iconic anime films and series of all time have been sci-fi, including Cowboy Bebop, Neon Genesis Evangelion, or the masterpiece anime film Akira. But few can claim to have the incredible influence of Mamoru Oshii's 1995 film Ghost in the Shell. A pillar of the cyberpunk genre, Ghost in the Shell takes place in a near-future Japan where cybernetic enhancements to the human body have become commonplace. So commonplace, in fact, that a distinction often needs to be drawn between someone's body and their ghost, or the original human consciousness that was in their brain. Motoko Kusanagi is an intelligence officer who has also received a number of cybernetic enhancements, including to her brain, which allows her to connect directly to the internet. Although this gives her and other people with similar enhancements superhuman abilities, it also presents a very severe security flaw, which is that the human brain can be attacked and overpowered by hackers. One such hacker is known as the Puppet Master, who has been hacking the brains of elite members of Japanese society and getting them to assassinate each other, and no one really knows why. Like the cyberpunk films that preceded it, like Blade Runner, or the ones that were directly inspired by it, like The Matrix, Ghost in the Shell is concerned with what constitutes a person once we start heavily relying on technology, and who we are as humans if technology becomes nearly indistinguishable from humanity. Less touchy-feely than Her and less outright pessimistic than 2001, Ghost in the Shell provides a surprisingly nuanced glimpse into our potential cyborg future in a way that does not skimp on the exciting sci-fi action sequences. You can check out Ghost in the Shell on DVD from the Harris County Public Library. Starting this discussion with 2001 means that there is really only one film we could end this discussion on, at least in my opinion. Although there are many films that have been influenced by 2001, either directly or indirectly, not so many have been made in direct response to it, which is just one of many reasons why Andrei Tarkovsky's 1972 film Solaris is so special. Solaris was made specifically so that Tarkovsky could rectify what he saw as being issues with 2001, namely that he saw Kubrick's film as being all flash and no substance. Because of that, Solaris is basically 2001 in reverse. There's very little of the innovative, eye-popping filmmaking techniques that Kubrick used, but a whole lot more direct philosophical discussions and a whole lot more talking in general. Although longer, newer, and less flashy than 2001, Solaris has basically the same central premise. A government space explorer is being sent to a space station to investigate whether the crew orbiting a mysterious planet known as Solaris should be allowed to continue with their study. Upon arriving at the space station, the researcher finds that one of the scientists who was aboard originally is dead, and the researchers who are still there all seem paranoid and distracted. It doesn't take long for him to realize why, because it turns out that Solaris can manifest doubles of people that the researchers remember, known as visitors by the people who are on board. And although the visitors look identical to the people the researchers remember and act exactly the same, they are also mysteriously indestructible. And despite numerous attempts by both the scientists and the visitors themselves to dispose of them, they don't seem to be able to do anything about their existence. Even with such a high concept plot, at its heart, Solaris is a film about grief, memory, and love. And whether you're a fan of sci-fi movies, personal dramas, or you really didn't like 2001: A Space Odyssey and you want to see someone dress it down entirely in Russian, Solaris is the film for you. You can check it out on DVD from the Harris County Public Library. Thank you for watching this episode of Screenshots. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter so that you never miss a future episode of Screenshots or any of our other great online programs. Let me know if you watch any of these or if I missed any of your sci-fi favorites. Like I said at the start, I'm kind of a newbie to the genre, so the things I've seen are relatively basic probably in comparison to other movies that are out there. But either way, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!